Hello and welcome to my channel where we discuss the Power Platform. In today's episode we're going to have a look at part 3 now. So this is a 3-part series. In the first 2 parts we saw how we could build tables, relationships, the actual entities, and well, tables are entities. And then in part 2 we looked at how to create the forms and then configuring the sitemap. In part 3 we're going to look at how to build a very basic business process flow and building your first business rules. So going back into our canvas area now. So in the model-driven space, we now have this site planner, which has a party event planner, bookings, venues, vendors, and bookings. I've just extended it a little bit just to show kind of different tables that we could have. And they just appear as essentially kind of different areas here. So if I go into venues, I can change my venues. In vendors, I can change my vendors, and same with bookings. And that's controlled in the exact same way that we did with our booking, right? So if we go into booking now, we see this is the form. And if we go into, say, vendors, we get a different form, which is just a new vendor. And it's just with a default view for now. What we want to do now is we want to go back into our app designer and we want to go into our business process flow. I'm actually going to create a new one so I can show you the entire process from scratch. So I'll give my business process flow a name here, call it V2, just so I remember. And I want it to be based off the booking entity here. And there's a conflict error here, so let's go, let's call it something else. That's because the name down here didn't change, so now I can go for this new event planning. Let's just take a second for that all to load. Now I've got these stages. So let's imagine that when we first come in, this is our kickoff of the booking. We then might have another stage where we now provide customer details. So we want the customer information. We now have another stage where we might provide, let's say, the venue details. And our last step, just for simplicity, let's say we're going to add this as the feedback stage. Now, each one of these steps, we want to ask for some data. So let's say in the booking stage, we're going to get the owner. We're going to get the requirements. Realize these names didn't actually save. So I didn't actually click apply there. It's going to kick off. And in my new stage, I wanted the customer details. So that gets the requirements from the customer. And for now, just at this, let's call it the date stage, just slightly change the name here. I'm going to go and say, I want you to enter in the date of the booking. And kind of finally, very much simplifying this whole process, is I want feedback. Apply. So this is very simple. I want people to enter in the owner and the requirements, the requirements, the date for the booking, and the feedback. So let's go ahead and save, and then we need to activate it in order for it to appear. It's going to take a few seconds, so I'm going to click activate and then just hit pause. That's now activated, as I can now deactivate it. So I now go back into here and I'm going to save and close this application. If I then refresh my browser, come over into Booking, then click on New. I can then see that I've got this business process flow now. So this time, when I kick off, I can type in the requirements. Then as the it had customer in there as well. So in the customer, I can put in the requirements as well. In the date, I can put in the date of the booking. And then in the new stage, I can give feedback if I want to. Some of those names haven't been saved correctly. But you see now, I need to put in a name of this booking. And you see now, I've now got this business process flow, which I could follow. And you see, we did that in about 5 minutes, which is great. So this is only a start for what a model-driven application can do. But I hope for someone out there, it basically helps them to get started. That's really my purpose of this video. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next videos. Don't forget to hit subscribe.